Hi there, amazing people. In this special post, we're happy to inform you all about the impending arrival of a fresh round of stimulus checks, which will benefit everyone, including those who get Social Security Supplemental Security Income, Insurance for Social Security Disability, SSI. This time, there are broad qualifying requirements for SSDI and veterans receiving VA benefits, which cover a wide spectrum of people if you're on Social Security. Benefits such as SSI, SSDI, or VA are likely to be available to you, which implies that veterans and elderly individuals with disabilities are all. As part of this inspiring project, you may be wondering how and when you'll obtain these much-needed money. Checks are distributed via direct deposit paper checks or even prepaid debit cards, depending on how you've received them. The distribution procedure is scheduled to run smoothly. Prior payments. Since people on fixed incomes may have particular worries or inquiries, we will offer advice that is especially designed for Social Security, SSI, SSDI, and veterans receiving VA payments. We'll discuss any obstacles that might arise and provide solutions to ensure that everyone receives the assistance they are due. We'll describe what you might need to do to ensure a smooth procedure and prevent any delays. While many eligible persons will automatically receive their payments without lifting a finger, some may need to take further actions to ensure they're on the list. These stimulus checks are here to make a positive impact in your life in a major economic relief effort aimed at boosting the economy. Whether it's covering essential expenses, treating yourself to something special, or simply relieving financial worries, take a moment to celebrate and share in the joy of financial relief. Financial situation of veterans and elderly people with impairments. Millions of Americans receiving Social Security retirement and disability benefits, as well as supplemental security income, will get $2,000 in direct payments from the federal government, according to announcements made. Pension benefits and compensation from Veterans Affairs and SSI. This extraordinary fourth stimulation check round may, after months of intense negotiations and partisan debate, lawmakers in Washington have finally struck a bipartisan compromise deal to send out the $2,000 checks, framing them as a much-needed lifeline to help. This will reach over 64 million people across the various federal programs and inject billions into the economy. Even though the official legal wording is still being developed, important details about who exactly qualifies for the payments and when the money is available are beginning to emerge. Some of the most vulnerable elements of society cope with the hard financial reality of high inflation and lasting effects from the COVID-19 pandemic. Could begin to arrive in accordance with the general guidelines unveiled by the White House and congressional leaders. The $2,000 stimulus checks will automatically be sent to current beneficiaries who are enrolled in Veterans Affairs compensation and pension programs, Social Security retirement, Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI, Supplemental Security Income, SSI, or Social Security Retirement. There are no longer any means testing or additional income requirements as of May 2024. In addition to receiving these particular federal benefits, couples in May who get payments from both spouses separately would receive $2,000 apiece, for a total of $44,000 in Social Security SSDI and SSI benefits. The Social Security Administration's current program enrollment data will be used to determine the front's eligibility. The IRS will not be involved. Recipients will receive the $2,000 payments via the banking information and disbursement channels that the SSA has on file for their current monthly benefits, such as direct deposit, debit cards from express or paper checks. The timetable stipulates that the $2,000 checks will begin to be given on a rolling periodic basis. Similarly, the Department of Veterans Affairs will cross-reference its records to disperse the stimulus money to VA compensation and pension beneficiaries utilizing their regular VA payment infrastructure. Payments will be made automatically through the same channels that recipients currently use to receive their monthly benefits, with no further action needed on their part if someone is unable to prioritize and streamline the massive logistical operation as quickly as possible from late June 2024 through early fall. feels they qualify but does not receive their stimulus check in the expected amount of time for their specific. Why was the $2,000 spent when federal program agencies are supposed to set up contact centers and online tools in late 2024 to manually assess and address any isolated remaining claims? According to economic experts and the architects of the legislation itself, Figure HH represents the stimulus check amount, and what is the larger justification for allocating such a sizable pool of funding specifically to federal beneficiaries, enhancing the personal finances and spending power of lower-income Americans dependent on fixed? Given how severely inflated costs have reduced their limited funds in recent years, monthly benefit payments were a key policy goal. According to data from the Social Security Administration, as of May 2024, the average monthly retirement benefit was just $1,759, with disabled workers on SSDI averaging a mere $1,291 per month for individuals enrolled in SSI, which has stringent income and asset limitations. The maximum government payment amount is limited to $914 per month in order to maintain a minimal standard of living. A significant number of veterans who receive VA benefits also have relatively low fixed incomes. Recent data indicates that an average with annual inflation rates above 5% for an extended period of time and a monthly payment of about $1,660 as of late 2023, the budgets of these federal beneficiaries, who have few to no additional sources of income, have been severely strained by the skyrocketing prices of necessities like food, rent, utilities, and medical costs. Most recipients of the $2,000 stimulus checks receive over a month's worth of income, providing a much-needed temporary boost to their limited resources. Tragically, we have heard accounts of seniors and those with disabilities forgoing life-sustaining treatments or basic necessities because their fixed incomes simply cannot cover them. Senator Amy Blunt Deo, an LED who designed the law, stated that while it's not a long-term fix, it's rising as costs rise. Our bipartisan deal provides them with immediate access to cash, giving them some much-needed financial breathing room and respite until inflation declines. In fact, for many beneficiaries, the infusion of, in the short term, $2,000 might be incredibly beneficial. It could be used to consolidate debt, stockpile discounted bulk purchases of non-perishable essentials, cover larger unforeseen expenses like auto repairs, or medical emergencies that would otherwise deplete limited savings, or simply provide flexibility to make larger purchases. While the well-publicized stimulus checks worth $2,000 for federal beneficiaries serve as the centerpiece of the headlines, they are only one part of a larger economic relief package worth over $480 billion that lawmakers are preparing to deliver. Other significant provisions in the emerging legislation include $50 billion in adaptable funding for state and local governments facing difficulties, $35 billion for bars, eateries, and other small companies, $160 billion for mortgages, $18 billion to support the healthcare system, increased unemployment payments through the end of 2024, and attempts to distribute vaccine support and averting evictions. Legislators and White House officials explain that the goal of this multifaceted strategy is to deploy a range of policy instruments that can assist fight inflation from several directions and simultaneously provide fiscal stimulus to maintain economic growth in the face of ongoing supply chain difficulties. Pandemic after effects. While aid to small firms and state and local governments supports jobs and investment, placing money directly in the hands of consumers through stimulus checks could increase family spending. The $2,000 payments for elderly, veterans, and those on modest fixed incomes are the most direct form of economic impact payments, but we also must consider the ripple effects on nearby companies and educational institutions. There are still many services, including municipal ones, that are influenced by revenue limitations. Congressman Jim Buckley RTX, who participated actively in the negotiations, stated that this is meant to be a thorough booster injection to get the delivering on such a monumental bipartisan legislative package did not come easy, even with rhetorical consensus around providing relief to vulnerable groups. Both parties positioned themselves to declare victory, while critics emerged on the left. The economy is now firmly back on track in all sectors. Fringes to criticize different aspects of the Democratic leadership in the White House. Obtaining $2,000 stimulus checks for federal recipients satisfies a key policy objective and serves as a campaign talking point while projecting resolute action to support low-income and elderly households in the face of economic concerns about inflation and living expenses at a passing. The $480 billion package as a whole required making concessions that Democrats are already facing backlash over. But the move could boost flagging approval ratings in that crucial demographic ahead of the November elections.